In this session, we're going to show you how to use the configuration options within ServicePoint 365 to change the layouts of workspaces along with the corresponding default views for many of the components found within a workspace. Most of the ServicePoint 365 centers give you the ability to not only add a record to the center, but also the option of creating a workspace associated with that record so that you can store key content. You have the ability to either accept the default layout for the workspaces, or you can adjust those to meet your needs. We're going to use Project Center as an example in today's session. If I go into Project Center, I'll be greeted with the list of projects for our company. Here we see in the project list a number of projects. We're going to use this project for web construction as a client. The project name is ServicePoint 365 Implementation. Let's open up the workspace that was created for this particular project. We're now looking at the workspace that was created for the ServicePoint 365 Implementation project. You'll find on a workspace there are a number of sections of information that are available for use. In this case, the first section is a details section. This section shows us some of the metadata that has been entered as it relates to this particular project. Things such as project status, billable status, type of project. If we scroll down, the next section is the documents section. So this is where you would store the documents and deliverables associated with a given project. If we continue to scroll down, we now see another section, which is the project calendar, which typically is used for things like major milestones related to a project. Continuing down and looking at the workspace, we see there's another section which is for our contacts, which would list the contacts for our company related to this project, and then the client's contacts. We also have a section dedicated to issues lists related to this project, a task list, and then further down we have also an area where you can store key links for a project to make it easy for the project team to be able to go jump out to other areas. And then also a section where you can upload partner invoices. Each of these sections are available as a standard template for projects within ServicePoint 365. You can accept the standards, and therefore whenever you create a project workspace, your workspace will contain all of these sections. You do, however, have the ability to make some adjustments to the template, where you can turn on and off different sections. You can also adjust the sequence of the sections as they fall on the page. And then within each section you also have the ability to set what you want the standard view to be. All of these configuration options are found on the back office settings screens. Here we are on the ServicePoint 365 settings page. This is where you can make adjustments to how you want the workspaces to look for each center, as well as make the adjustments to the standard views for each of the sections on a workspace. We'll continue with a projects example. Let's unfold the section dedicated to Project Center. The first area is you'll see the different sections that we found on a project workspace are listed. Here, if you recall, we had a document library, we saw a project calendar, our contacts, client contacts, issues lists, task lists, links, partner invoices. Those were all the sections that we found on the project workspace. If you want to accept all of those as being your default sections, you do nothing because they will already be all selected. If you decide that you don't want to have a particular section show up on your project workspace, you simply go in and deselect one of the sections or multiple sections. Once you've turned on and off the different sections that you want on your workspace and save this settings, the next time you create a project workspace, only the selected sections will show up on that page. You also have the ability to resequence the sections. Let's say in our case, we would like to have the issues log fall right below the document library. I simply drag and drop issues and place that underneath the document library. I have the ability to drag and drop any of these sections around so that whenever a project workspace is created, from top to bottom, the page is laid out the way that we want it to. If I scroll down, if you recall, there was also a section called for metadata on the project workspace. In this details section here is where we had turned on the different metadata fields that we wanted to display. If you recall, we were showing the client, the title, the project status, type. So those are the fields that have been selected. You can select other fields to include in that metadata section, as well as you can drag and drop a field so that the sequence of the metadata meets your needs. If we continue to scroll down, you'll see that each section also has its own settings. In this case, we're looking at the section for the document library. This is where you could turn on other fields to display as their standard view for the document library when it's created on the workspace. You can turn them on, as well as you can drag and drop the fields so that you can set the sequence that those fields or columns show up in the default view from left to right. So in this case, whenever a project document library is created, it will include phase, document type, status, and stage as being the columns for that default view. Each section within the workspace has its own set of options so that you can tailor what the default view is for your given workspace. Once your changes have been made, simply click the Save button. Then the next time a workspace is created, it will check these settings and generate the workspace layout accordingly.